Okay, hey, it is Tammy Pigott here. I'm your instructional technologist. I'm going to show you how to create forms today. You can utilize those for giving students or staff surveys. You can create tests and quizzes. So today I'm just going to walk you through the creating part, and then I'll show you how to collect data and grades and things in a separate video to come. So the first thing, if you're in your email, you're going to go to your grid or your array. You need to get to your drive. So once you click on that, you're going to go to your drive. Now, once you're in your drive, depending upon what version you have, you're going to have a button in the upper left that says Create, or if you're in your new version, it'll say New. So you'll click on the Create or New button, and then you'll go down to Form. Now, once in your forms, you've got a couple different options here. Let me make this a little larger for you. The four buttons at the top here are going to be the ones that you're going to utilize the most. Editing questions. You can change the theme. Now, whether this be kindergarten or high school, most students appreciate, visually appealing aspects of any form that they're going to be creating rather than just kind of a blank black and white form. So you can just click on these and choose some different items that just look a little bit more appealing and give it a little bit of flair once they're taking it. Now once you choose that, I'm going to go back to the edit questions option so that I can actually walk through editing the questions here. Now you've got a couple different options in the settings that you need to make sure you set before you actually create your form. This first check is that you have to require Lamar County School District people to be able to view this form. If this is checked, then that means you can't send this form outside of someone with an email account that's not Lamar County School. So if you needed to, for some reason, send a survey or a form to someone that's not in our district, you'll need to have that unchecked. This check here means you'll automatically collect the usernames of whoever fills it out. So if it's a quiz or a test or some sort of survey that you want to know who said what, you definitely want to have this checked. The only time that this would be unchecked would be if this is an anonymous form that you wanted to have created. Now, show progress bar, I would suggest this in all cases. This helps students know at what stage in the process they're at. So, am I halfway through? Am I getting close to being finished with this? It does help just kind of give them a gauge of what stage of the quiz or form or survey, whatever they're at, so that helps out a little bit there. Only allow one response per person. I would suggest this if it's going to be a test. You don't want them taking it multiple times. And then shuffle question order. This will allow you to shuffle questions. So if you have students sitting next to each other, that student number 1 isn't going to have the same question order as student number 2 that's right next to them. So it kind of helps a little bit with cheating. So, just depending upon whether or not you want that option. Now, the first item that I want to show you how to do here is to title your form, and that's going to be this item here. You can call it, whatever it is that you're working on. I can call it Unit 8 Test maybe. So once you title your form, you notice it changes your form title up here as well. And then you can move on to actually creating questions. So the first question here that I'm going to create is maybe just having students put in their name. So I'm going to say name. And for students to do this, maybe I'll say first name. Okay? So once students put in their first name, they actually have to type it in as a text. So the question type here, I'm going to change to a text because they'll actually be typing in their name. And then I'm going to click on that this is required, and then I'm going to hit done. So that's going to be my first question is first name. Then I'm going to go to add item, and then the next one I'll say is their last name. And again, it's already set for text since the previous one I did was set for that. And so I hit require question, and then I'll hit done. And then the other item that I want to add is maybe have them tell me what date it is. So I'm going to click on add item. I'm going to call this the date. And then now I'm going to change the question type to date. So it'll give me actually a little calendar that students can collect their information from here. So I'm going to click on the required question and then done one more time. So you've got where students to start, they'll hit the first name, last name, and date. Now before I start any other types of questions, I wanted to point out If you click on this shuffle question order, your first name, last name, date, these will be all shuffled around. You know, your first name could be question 12 and your last name could be question 20. So that can kind of create a problem. But let me point out, if you have this automatically collect respondents usernames, you're going to know their first name and last name. So if you want to shuffle question order, you don't have to have these questions here. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete those. Or the date, because again you'll have the date with that. But I just wanted to show you, if you wanted to have that as an option, you can create those. So here I'm going to add a question. So maybe the first question that I want to have is a multiple choice question. So the first question that I want maybe is, what is the third planet from the sun? Okay. Now, on this help text, you could add, this is almost like a hint. It could say something to the nature of, you know, this planet supports life, or, you know, anything that's kind of a help to help them answer. Now, once you have in your question, you can have some different options here. You're like kind of A, B, C, D choice. You just click on it, and then I'll say sun, and you click on the second one to make it option. You just click on however many that you need. The next one will be Earth, maybe Venus, and then Mars. Okay, so you've got these different options here. Again, I want to make sure I click on the required question. On the advanced setting, I'm going to click on this. This also allows you to shuffle the option order. So not only can you shuffle questions for students, you can shuffle the different options here. So the correct answer for one student may be B, where the correct answer for another student may be A. So it'll help, again, eliminate some of the cheating options there if you shuffle the answer order. That's just an option that's available. So I'm going to click on Done. So this is what the question is going to look like for the students. Now I'm going to add another item. Let's try in this one. Let's do some checkboxes. This is if you have a question that has more than one answer that's correct. So check all that are bones. So this will have multiple options that I'll have that are bones. For instance, the first one we can say is a skull. The next one is earlobe. Then we can have heart, ribs. Let's see, the tibia. So you've got some different, you know, options here. So I'm going to go and click on required question and hit done. So this is an option where there's multiple answers that are correct that you want students to make sure that they're checking multiple answers. Now I'm going to add another item. Now in here we've done checkboxes. The next one that I want to create is maybe a choose from a list. So here I can say, you know, what is 2 plus 2? So I can have this choose from a list will be like a drop down menu. So I'll say 1, 2. So you can have as many options again as you need. And then I'm going to again require this question and hit done. So now I'm going to click on so we can see what this looks like, because if I click on it, it's going to put me back in editing mode. But I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to go and hit view live form to see what the students are going to see. So when I click on view live form, you can see here this is what exactly the students will see. Now since I clicked on that shuffle answers or shuffle my different choices, you can see that it's not in the order that I put the questions in. However, you can look here. This is the drop down list I wanted to show you. What's the 2 plus 2? You can drop this down and it gives you the answer options in a list, and I'm hearing that a lot of the tests are kind of moving to this drop down list, so that's kind of a really handy tool there. Now this opened it up in a new tab, so I'm going to get out of that and just go back to my form that I was creating. Now, the other options I do want to show you is that once you create, you can actually have control over where you move the questions. You can just drag and drop the different questions into whatever order you want those to be in. So if you accidentally put a question in, number 1 space that you didn't want there, which it really wouldn't matter, especially if you had that shuffle question order, but let's say you wanted them in a specific order, you could move those around. Now, the next items that I wanted to show you is the ability to add in videos and or pictures. So you can click on this little drop down arrow here. This gives you kind of the basic questions you can ask with those. You can have some advanced. For instance, a scale is going to be something from 0 to 10. Rate this on how much you like it. You also have some different layouts that you can create here. So I'm going to create and add an image. Maybe I'd say, look at this image or look at this graph that you can create, and we'll take an item where, sorry about the interruption. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to add pictures. So next to this add item, what I'm going to do is drop it down and maybe add the question that I want first, and say something to the fact of, look at the graph, to answer the question or something of that nature. You can have different answer choices here, and then require this question and done. So now I'm going to actually add in the graph that I'm talking about in this question. So next to this add item, it's got a little arrow. I'm going to drop it down and click on image. So I'm going to add in an image. I'm going to choose to upload an image. You can see upload here. So I'm going to choose to upload from my computer. I'm on my desktop. You find wherever it is. I'm going to use this graph, and it will load in. And then you can see once it uploads into the system, then you can click on done. Now, the problem with pictures is you can add it in like this, and you can say, look at the graph, here's the questions, and then here's the picture to look at. However, the only issue that you may have is if you've got this shuffle question order. I'm going to go to View Live Form, and we'll see if it shows you what can happen here. This actually worked out in this case, but it's not always going to do that. I may try to View Live Form again, and it may shuffle it in a different order for me. Yeah, so here's the graph, but here's the look at the graph question. So that's the only kind of downside right now, is that you're not able, that I can find, to lock in the picture with the particular question if you've got this shuffle question order clicked. So I'll kind of look into that and give you some different available options if it comes about. But I just kind of wanted to point that out. So if you do add questions, you're going to probably have to leave them in the order that you stick them in your question choice here. Now, last I'm going to talk to you guys about is how to actually send this out. You've got 3 stages to forms. You create forms, then you distribute them, and then you collect. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how to create and distribute. So I've already showed you creating. On these, I wouldn't suggest you click on any of these. You can show a link to submit another response. There's no reason for that. You can publish to a public link, allow them to edit their responses. I wouldn't have any of those, but it just depends. Let's say if you click on this send form, that means you're done. So if you wanted to share this with a teacher, if you click on send form, then it's going to not allow them to edit it. If you want a teacher to edit, you'll go to File and Add Collaborators. Add Collaborators allows other teachers to come in, add their own questions, change up the wording, and not actually take the quiz. But once you click on send form, then that's going to allow whoever, teachers, students, to actually take the quiz, take the survey, whatever it is that you're sending out. Now I'm going to show you 2 different ways, the easiest ways to actually send out these surveys and forms to your students or teachers. Now there's a third way, this embed code, that's like an HTML way. But I'm just going to show you the easy 2 ways right now. If you want to learn about that embed code, just let me know. Okay, so you can have this link, and you can just copy and paste this link on whatever website you want. So it tells you how to copy it here. So once you click on that, again, You could put it on your school wires page and have students say, hey, go to the school wires page and click on the link. Or you can click and type in, if you teach 50 students, you're going to have to type in all their email addresses here. That's why the link is going to be your easiest option to actually share it. It's kind of a one-stop shop for you where you don't want to have to type in all the students' email addresses here. But that's how you share it. Okay, so that's creating and distributing forms, and once the students actually go through and take it, I will make another video to walk you guys through those steps. Let me know if you need anything. Thanks.